last time we read the Frost's poem. Frost's poem, right? After apple picking. It was last time. On the first day, the poem we read was what? The Lake Isle of Innisfree by William Butler Yeats, right? And today, again, we are going to read a poem by Yeats. This is a middle poem, and we can call it a masterpiece, great poem. The title of the poem is Long-Legged Fly. What is it? Long-legged fly. Fly, right? Insect. Long-legged fly. In Korean, what is it? 소금쟁이, right? Long-legged fly. And it's a very beautiful poem, and we are going to read it. And by the way, have you seen the photo of Yeats? Yeats' photograph? How he looks? Do you know? And how about Robert Frost? You haven't seen him. And we're going to read a William Cullen Williams. Did you see him? No? William Cullen Williams. And Wallace Stevens. No? All of them are great 20th century poets. And you can have a look. Okay, I'll show you. Okay. He was born in 1865, died in 1939. He is getting, older. Look at this. Young poet. This portrait was done by his father, right? His father was a lawyer, attorney, right? Probably he could have made a lot of money, but he gave it up to become a painter. So he did a portrait. And Maud Gonne, a woman's name, right? Yeats had loved her for a long time, right? Maud Gonne. What do you think? She's beautiful, Maud Gonne. And Yeats, middle-aged, I think. Yeats' photograph. Old Yeats, right? Yeats' grave. We are going to study Yeats' poem mainly. So, okay, all of you got the handout. Look at the poem called Red Wheelbarrow, page 1191. This poem was by William Cullen Williams and focused on the images. The red wheelbarrow, so much depends upon a red wheelbarrow glazed with rainwater beside the white chickens. This is a poem, right? The title of the poem is part of the sentence, right? One sentence. Very beautiful, right? This kind of poetry is the first kind of poetry. In English, there is no poem like this, right? Very unique. He's American, and he was actually, he made a living by being a doctor, medical doctor, child doctor. And he is one of the greatest 20th century American poets. And his poetic diction, his poetic language is uniquely American. And, okay, another great poet is Wallace Stevens. Next page. The Snowman. Very beautiful poem, and it's a perfect structure. There is a carefully structured poem, very beautiful. The Snowman. One must have a mind of winter to regard the frost and the boughs of pine trees crushed with snow, and having a cold a long time to behold the junipers shagged with ice, with spruces loft in the distant glitter of the January sun, and not to think of any misery in the sound of wind, in the sound of few leaves, which the sound of land, full of the same wind that is blowing in the same bare place, for the listener who listens to the snow, and nothing himself beholds nothing that is not there, and the nothing that is. What do you think? Actually, this is one single sentence. Just one sentence. Right? Amazing, right? And the images are beautiful, right? Pay attention to the sound. What kind of sound? Sound, right? Second stanza, right? Of the January sun, and not to think of any misery in the sound of wind, in the sound of a few leaves, which is the sound of land, full of the same wind that is blowing the same bare place, for the listeners who listens in the snow, and nothing himself beholds nothing that is not there, and the nothing that is. Very philosophical, right? So I think you can write this kind of poem, right? In 4 months, hopefully. And there is another poem by Ezra Pound, page 1207. On the right-hand side, the first poem. In a station of the metro, metro, subway, the apparition, the ghost, right? The apparition of these faces in the crowd, paddles on a wet black bow. Very beautiful image, right? Have you seen the people on the windows, appearing on the windows in subway? Right? It's the images, right? The apparition of these faces in the crowd, paddles on a wet black bow. The second line is what? There's a comparison. The paddles, actually, paddles are the faces of the crowd. Paddles on wet black bow. Big train and window. People appears, right, on the window. They look like paddles. This is image poem, right? Can you write this kind of poem? Yes, you will do, right? In 4 months, hopefully. Okay, now let's go to Yeats's poem. I think let's have a look at the textbook, page 151. 151. Repetition, rhythm, and blues. Repetition, rhythm, everything repeats. The seasons, or the patterns of day and night, babies being born, parents die, two people discovering each other's bodies. Everything, large and small, has happened before, or almost. Nothing repeats itself exactly the same way. This is a good thing, right? Everything repeats itself, but not in the same way. Everything is different, right? If everything is repeated in the same way, it could be boring, right? So you need change, right? You need change, delights of change. And they need to be in balance, right? Repetition and change, they should be in balance, right? Too much repetition means a routine of dull habit, of closing out the world. Too much change, we lose our center. The same principle applies to poems that use repetition. Okay, and I'll skip third paragraph, the last paragraph on the same page. And repeated words are powerful. They assert themselves, insist on our attention. Children know this. Can I have some more, please? Please, 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 please. Children, right? When they ask for something. In Catholicism, the repetition of prayers by the living is said to have helped reduce the time departed souls spent in purgatory, right? So you say prayer. The more you say prayers, right? So the departed will get out of purgatory sooner, right? So Buddhists repeat Sanskrit phrases by bringing themselves in contact with the divine. Many peoples of the world have a long history of using repetitive chants and spells, prayers and invocations to get the attention of the powers that be, or to heal the sick, bless the crops, or the marriage or the household, or to show the devotion. Poems partake of this tradition too. In the 20th century, Gertrude Stein, another great poet, modernist poet, was the great literary repeater. She was fascinated with the possibilities and the implications of reusing words, and so sometimes to the point of tedium. But her use of language was innovative, akin to what visual artists of the same were also exploring. For Stein, repetition was a way of subverting traditional ideas about what words were doing on the page. If the page was a canvas, maybe words could have the properties of paint, like color and texture, without having to refer to something else to make meaning in the ordinary sense. They could live on the page as words, as themselves, just as an abstract painting is not a painting of anything, it's paint. As Stein said, rose is a rose is a rose is a rose. Repetition as brushstroke, as incantation, as fundamental principle is basic to all poetry, even when words aren't repeated. Other things like sentence structure, stanza patterns maybe, traditional form like the sonnet is based on repeating rhythms and rhymes. The few subjects for poetry get recycled over and over again: love, death, loss, the self, the world, the world beyond it. All of it has been said before. All of it bears repeating, or we wouldn't be writing poem at all, but rereading. There are two terms that might be useful to know: repetant and anaphora. Okay, it's English usage. Okay. Okay, let's go to the ideas. Page 159, ideas for writing. This is your homework, and also you are going to take one of these ideas and write a poem here, right, after the lecture, okay? Idea 1, page 159, idea 1. Write a poem that uses anaphora. Okay, I'll skip, okay. Okay, idea 2. Using repeated words from the following list, write a chant that seems rhythmically interesting and has a sense of closure. Don't worry about what it means, but just create something that feels complete. Let the words trigger the direction of the poem. You don't need to use all of them, and you can add as many words as you need: smoke, angels, mirror, regret, moonlit pleasure, rose, glittering, face, oblivion, burning, strip, breaking, smolder, hotel. Okay, idea 3, page 160. Idea 3. Do the preceding exercise with words you choose from a book of poems or fiction. Okay, idea 4. Write a poem, short poem that begins and ends with the same line. The reader should feel differently about the line the second time he or she encounters it because of what has happened in the poem. So repeat the first line at the end of the poem, the same line. But they feel different, right? Because of the things in between the first and last line, okay? Okay, idea 7. Write a poem with a refrain. Refrain, all right? The last lines, the last part of a poem are repeated in each stanza. They are called refrain. Okay, and idea 9. Try repeating images in the poem. Images of light, images of certain color, images of things that are square, images of things that crawl. The possibilities are endless. Images, right? Absolutely. Okay. Idea 10. Take an old poem you wrote that does not use much repetition. All right? You can revise it. Find words, images, rhythms, lines to repeat in it. Doing this might revitalize a poem that wasn't working. Okay? So these are good ideas, right? Take one of these and you can do a poem. Okay, everyone got the handout? Okay, the poem is by Yeats, W.B. Yeats, and I think you'll like it. First, I'm going to read it. Long-legged fry, page 381. I took it from Collected Poems, Yeats' book by Yeats. Long-legged fry, that civilization may not sink, its great battle lost, quiet the dog, tether the pony to a distant post. Our Master Caesar is in the tent where the maps are spread, his eyes fixed upon nothing, a hand under his head, like a long-legged fry upon the stream. His mind moves upon silence. That the topless towers be burnt and men recall their face, move most gently if move you must. In this lonely place, she thinks part woman, 3 parts child. That nobody looks, her feet practice tinker shuffle, picked up on the street, like a long-legged fry upon the stream. Her mind moves upon silence. The girls at puberty may find the first Adam in their thought, shut the door of the Pope's chapel, keep those children out. There, on the scaffolding, reclines Michelangelo, with no more sound than the mice make. His hands move to and fro, like a long-legged fry upon the stream. His mind moves upon silence. The last 2 lines in each stanza are repeated, right? Exactly repeated, right? So, do you think it's kind of difficult for you? Let's go back to the first stanza. That civilization may not think, its great battle lost, quiet the dog, tether the pony to a distant post. This is one sentence, right? Quiet the dog. Quiet is a verb. Make the dog quiet. Quiet is a verb. Quiet the dog. Tether the pony to a distant post. Tie the pony, tie up the pony to a distant post. Why? So that there is an inversion, right? Inversion, right? Quiet the dog and tether the pony to a distant post, so that civilization may not sink and its great battle may not be lost. Right? There is an inversion, right? So that civilization may not sink. And look at the rhyme scheme, right? First line ends with sink. Second line, lost, pony, post, tent, spread, nothing, had, stream, silence. Right? Okay. Sink, lost, pony, post, tent, spread, nothing, had. Right? Okay, so, and then after the first sentence, is connected with what? What do you see? Punctuation. Semicolon. What does it mean? The sentence is not over. right? Sentence is not over. It continues, right? So the next one. Our Caesar is in the tent. Our master, Caesar, is in the tent. Caesar, what kind of person is he? General. General, right? So our master Caesar is in the tent. Look at the verb, the tense of verb. What is it? Present. So present. So our Caesar is in the tent where the maps are spread. Maps are spread. His eyes fixed upon nothing. With his eyes fixed upon nothing. What does it mean?
He thinks.
He is thinking, right? He is thinking. He is thinking how to fight against the enemy, how to win the enemy, right? So his eyes fixed upon nothing, and his hand under his head. You can image, right? You can imagine him, right? We got a very clear image of a general, right? Very quiet, right? This is very quiet, and what is being described in the refrain is be quiet, the silence, right? Like a long-legged fly upon the stream, his mind moves upon silence. Perfect. Very good, right? So this is a scene of a general thinking about his strategy, right? So that civilization may not sink, is great battle lost, quiet the dog, tattle the pony to a distant post. Our master Caesar is in the tent, his eyes fixed upon nothing, a hand under his head. Like a long-legged fly upon the stream, his mind moves upon silence. Okay, let's go to stanza 2. That the topless towers be burnt, and men recall that face. Move most gently, if move you must, in this lonely place. This is one sentence, right? The same structure as in the first stanza, right? So that the topless towers may not be burnt. Topless towers. What does it mean? Towers without a top, without top. Topless means what? Very high, right? The topless towers be burnt, may not be burnt, right? Man recall that face. Move most gently, if there's inversion here. If you must move most gently, so that the topless towers may not be burnt, and man recall the face. She thinks, part woman, what does it mean? She thinks. This describes how old she is. Part one part woman, 3 parts a child, 4 parts, right? 1 part woman, 3 part child. So she is younger or older? Quite young, right? Quite old, right? Quite 3 part child, 1 part woman. Still very young. She thinks, 3 part woman, 1 part woman, 3 part child, thinks that nobody looks. So what? She's not shy, right? Her feet practice a tinker shuffle. She's practicing dancing on the street, right? Because nobody looks at her, right? Shuffle. Picked up on the street. Very good. What kind of shuffle? A tinker shuffle. She learned on the street. She learned from the street musicians, right? Picked up on the street. Like a long-legged fly upon the stream, her mind moves upon silence. The refrain is superb, right? Wonderful, right? Compared with the refrain in the first stanza, it is what? It is about her. In the first stanza, it is about the general, Caesar. And in stanza 3, that girls at puberty may find the first atom in their thought. That girls at puberty may find the first atom in their thought. Shut the door of Pope's chapel. Keep those children out. Right? So that girls at puberty may find the first atom in their thought. Shut the door of Pope's chapel. Keep those children out. Okay, this action is going to take place in indoors of the chapel. What kind of chapel? The story is about what? It is about the Michelangelo. And probably the greatest painting in the world is one of the greatest paintings is on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, the creation by Michelangelo. Right? He's going to paint a great picture. How many people did the painting? How many? Do you know how many? Michelangelo was in charge of painting, and he was going to paint the huge painting with his fellow painters. He called up all the good painters all of Italy, and they gathered and they began painting. And one day, Michelangelo looked at the painting they're doing. He was not satisfied. And suddenly, he closed the door. Right? He locked the door, and inside, he painted alone. His fellow painters came and knocked on the door. Michelangelo, we are here. He did not open it. He did the painting alone. Right? Great, right? So, did you see the painting? Right, great. So many people gather there, and right. You're not allowed to take photographs, but flash explodes all over, right? Right. Anyway, keep those children out. Shut the door of the Pope's chapel, so that girls at puberty may find the first atom in their thought. Right. The girls at puberty, right? There, on that scaffolding, right? Reclines Michelangelo. Michelangelo reclines there on the scaffolding with no more sound than the mice make. With no more sound than the mice make, his hand moves to and fro. Very silent. You can hear, right? Even the mice moving, you can hear it, right? Very silent. Again, the refrain. Like a long-legged frog upon the stream, his mind moves upon silence. Wonderful form, fantastic. This is repetition, right? The fact of repetition of poem. So you can do a poem like this. Huh? Okay, I'm going to read the whole poem again before you begin practice writing a poem. Long-legged fry, that civilization may not sink, its great battle lost, quiet the dog, tattle the pony, to a distant post. Our master Caesar is in the tent, where the maps are spread, his eyes fixed upon nothing, a hand under his head. Like a long-legged fry upon the stream, his mind moves upon silence. That the topless towers be burnt, and men recall their face, move most gently, if move you must, in this lonely place. She thinks, part woman, part child, that nobody looks. Her feet practice a tinker shuffle, picked up on the street. Like a long-legged fry upon the stream, her mind moves upon silence. That girls at puberty may find the first atom in their thought, shut the door of Pope's chapel, keep those children out. There, on the scaffolding, reclines Michelangelo, with no more sound than the mice make. His hand moves to and fro. Like a long-legged fry upon the stream, his mind moves upon silence. Okay, we'll take 10 minutes break. Thank you.